Hi everyone, no major news today, so let's get straight into the data and charts. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. So Fear and Greed Index stayed flat here at a 43. 43 yesterday, a week ago 47, so we're seeing this tick up a little bit, but then we ended up going flat here today. Back into greed here for momentum, strength and breadth continuing to hover. Breadth continues to taper despite the fact that we're seeing markets go higher on the day. Still extreme fear here on the put call ratio. I think markets are definitely concerned that this is going to be a lower high, and I do think that that's possible as well. Volatility still hovering right around that 50-day average. And then safe haven demand, we're in fear here. Bonds have outperformed, and you can see bonds and equities have been flat over the past 20 days, and then junk bond demand, no changes there. Looking at seasonality, we're still in this bullish period through tomorrow. So far, that's been working out. After that, looks a little bit more bearish for the next 2 days, 3 days or so. We'll see if we get that final spike and then weakness into the end of the month. Moving over to the economic calendar, we did get PPI here. PPI for the month-over-month core came in at 0.3 versus 0.2. Previous number was revised down to negative 0.2 from 0, so that was pretty bullish. Headline number 0.2 versus 0.1. Previous number also revised down. So mixed signals there, nothing crazy. ECB also cut interest rate again here today. Pretty substantial cut, 3.65 down from 4.25. And you can see their deposit facility 3.5 versus 3.75. So another rate cut ahead of our own rate cut. 30-year bond auction coming in at 4%. And then for tomorrow, just some Michigan data to wrap up the week. Moving over to the charts, looking at the S&Ps here on the daily, another strong day, 0.75. We're now at the bottom of this consolidation. If it breaks right here, the next push would be to the previous highs, around 56.40, and then above that you have trend sitting around 56.74, which would be back to those all-time highs. Momentum continues to swing to bullish, RSI crossing above the SMA, so that was interesting today. Got more follow through. You would expect this to push at least flat, if not to another all-time high, or this next trend up here around 56.93, right around that 5700 level. And then looking at the shorter time frames here on the hourly, you can see a little bit choppy to begin with. Once we closed above this level, straight almost to the next one at 560.07. A little bit of consolidation, big wick down on the 1300 candle. Overall continues to look quite bullish. Your next level is that 560.07, and then above that you have 565.16, which is the all-time high back from 16 July. Moving over to the Tasty charts here on the 4-hour, we did hit that upper ATR band today. That's at 559.46. You can see that's where markets topped out here in the short term. Doesn't mean that we can't grind higher slowly, but usually it is a slower grind. We've seen that before, just like back here, where you hit the level, grinding price action, pullbacks in time. Again, doesn't mean we're not going to go higher, but usually the markets slow down a little bit once we've kind of filled that range. Moving over to the NASDAQ, another update here, almost 1%. Did take out that 55 EMA at 19,384. Momentum continues to swing to bullish. RSI continues to be bullish, looking for that next trend resistance at 19,691, which is about another 270 points higher from current price. So pretty solid move. If we do get that move, everything continues to look like it will do it. Similar to this previous move, it's not as aggressive, but we do have a solid base, a solid push out. Should be more move here. If this breaks, your next trend is all the way up in the 20,050 area, which is very close to those all-time highs. It is a higher low setup at this point, so that means the uptrend is likely to continue. You should be looking for that higher high setup. Moving over to the shorter time frames just for a moment, the only thing that could potentially break that thesis is this downtrend that we have here. So you have the high, the lower high here, and now we are getting very close to that level. You can see we got within just a couple of points there, about 50 cents of the level, and we started to pull back. We hit some very overbought conditions all the way up to 76.68 here on the hourly chart. So if we do reject off of that, we're probably going to go back down to that 200 SMA, which is down at 442.86. So critical zone going into this Friday session. If we get consolidation and rejection, very bearish. If we get a clean breakout, look for that higher high, closer to the all-time highs here for the NASDAQ. Moving over to the Tasty charts, you can see we hit that upper ATR yesterday, and then we did push back above it. Again, that's usually when we start to see pullbacks in time, even slighter pullbacks in price, potentially back down to that 8 EMA, down at 467.65 or so. Definitely a little bit extended here. Volume didn't really follow through today. We did get strong volume yesterday, but not so much here today. Still bullish conditions, still could go higher. Looking to that previous consolidation top here, around that 477.11 area. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, you can see both of these turned in a good day as well, 1.29% and 0.66%. The Russell got that continuation push right to the level 212.10, just like we thought that it was going to. Momentum continues to step to bullish here. Did close below the level, but I would expect it to push through that tomorrow. And then looking at the Dow, consolidation, big wick rejection to the low yesterday, continuation here today, which would give you a push back to this next trend line around 418.36 as your next price target. Moving over to the Mag 7, the Mag 7 did continue this run. We got the breakout yesterday, got the continuation here today right through the level. Positive day, 1.5%, looking for that 273.41 level as your next resistance. Might find some at this previous high, but realistically you would expect to push to this next level here. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. This continues to do exactly what we thought it was going to. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple was basically flat at 0.05, continues to stay in this range. It does look a little bit better here today, holding a higher low, but still can't get to that 224.36 level. If it does, same thesis as yesterday, looking for a touch of that next trend at 226.18 or the next level at 230.28. And then looking at Microsoft, did the same thing we expected it to. Once we got the break here, looked for a test of the 55, came up just a smidgen short of that. That was at 427.70, and the high of day was 427.37, so just barely missed it. If that breaks, your next level would be 429.88. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA, again, the rally continues pretty much across the board here. Tesla was positive 0.74, still looking for that price target, 232.57. If that breaks, I think there's going to be a lot of room, looking for this gap fill back here. The low there was 246.38, so that would be a long way from here. If we did get that gap fill, that would give you a push of around 7.25%, so something to consider there if this level breaks. Could be a very strong move. And then looking at NVIDIA, positive 1.91%, still looking for that 124.69 level. Moving over to Alphabet and Amazon, both of these did what we thought they might. Amazon continued its rally, 1.34, still looking for that 188.61 price target. If it breaks out, you do have a trend up here. Let's go ahead and extend that out. That's all the way up at 198.63. I don't know if we're going to get that high. That's pretty much back to these all-time highs from the mid-July timeframe. We'll see if it plays out that way. Critical level there. And then even Google here, catching a little bit of a bounce, 2.23%. Hitting that 9 EMA. We'll see if it holds that level. Momentum, big step to bullish. RSI breaking above the SMA. So probably a little bit more follow through tomorrow. Moving over to staples and discretionaries. We did get a little bit of an everything rally here today. Staples back up 0.62. Momentum still bearish. RSI still bearish. So still looking at this as a pullback in time, if not an actual pullback to the trend here around 81.34. And then discretionaries broke right through that level. So we're looking for 193.81 as your next target, which is back to the highs from mid-July. Got the consolidation breakout yesterday, continuation here today. Moving over to oil and gas and technology. Oil and gas seems to have found a bottom, so that is a good look here. We got a step to bullish. Probably going to get into a trade here for tomorrow. Looking for a break of the 128 level, push back to 135. I do like that. Couple of points of trade there on oil and gas. It's super oversold. You can see we got all the way down to 28.94, showing consolidation, throwing wicks. 124 is your support here now after that wick yesterday, and everything looks good for at least a little bit of a counter trend rally. Obviously, this is still a downtrend, but it's super extended here. And then looking at technology, strong continuation, hit the 55 EMA, held at that level. If it breaks that, your next trend resistance is at 223.04. Moving over to commodities, we haven't talked about these here in a while. Really, they haven't been doing much. You can see gold has been sideways choppy all the way back since mid-August. But now we got a huge breakout, strong move, 1.76%, gapped through those levels. Should expect strong continuation, big volume. Remember, my longer-term price target is $250 on this. Don't know how quickly it's going to get there, but this is a strong move. Should expect more bullishness there on gold. Probably look for a trade there in tomorrow's session. And then looking at oil here, wicked that, bounced yesterday, continuation here today. Seems like oil's found at least a little bit of a base, which is probably why oil and gas stocks are doing a little better in that zone as well. So something to consider. Commodities catching a little bit of an up move. Moving over to Riot and Marathon, these really didn't do much at all. 0.85 to the downside for Riot. Still looking for that 21 EMA at 7.54. Momentum still bullish, so it still could do it. We're holding that 9 EMA. Looks like a little bit of consolidation. It wouldn't shock me if we got a little bit of a pullback, maybe a double bottom before some kind of up move. So be patient there. Similarly here with Marathon, catching a move to that 21 EMA. Touched it yesterday, still consolidating. Momentum and RSI say this could still go, but if this is a bottom, we're probably going to catch some kind of higher low setup. Might see a little bit of pullback off that 21. Moving over to 20 and 50-day Breadth here. Breadth finally caught that up move on 20-day, so this is probably going to have more follow through. Who knows how fast it goes up to these next ranges, but there's probably some more to come. Markets continue to look pretty bullish here. Similarly on 50-day, 2 steps to bullish. RSI's right there, probably going to touch that tomorrow. Probably push to this trend line here around 71.83. If that breaks, 77.46. Should take you right back to that previous high consolidation on 50-day Breadth, and I would expect the 20-day to push to that 68.14 level. So overall, Breadth looks like it's gaining some momentum, and markets should go with it. Moving over to the dollar, look at that sell-off straight down, probably why we saw markets continuing to show strength here today. Got all the way down to a 23.39 here, right to the level 101.25. Touched that level, finding a little bit of strength, momentum finally stepping to bullish here on the hourly. Interesting to see that. And then looking at the daily chart, pulled right to the level. Would have liked to see these EMAs hold like it did yesterday, but definitely did not. I still like this as a base, and it's still holding in this range. Question is what happens next? Is it going to bounce from here, or is it going to cut right through there and push back to this trend line here? Critical zone, obviously if it breaks, that's bearish. If it holds, a little bit more bullish. Moving over to bonds, J&K continues this rally, still looking for that 97.69 level. A little bit of risk on, momentum swinging to bullish, back into this consolidation. We've been here for a couple of days, looking for that cleaner breakout above these highs. Hasn't done it yet, but does seem like it could do it over the next day, maybe two. And then looking at TLT, continues to reject off of this trend line here. Held support at 100.05. That's a critical zone there. Momentum did step back to bearish, so maybe this is going to go a little bit lower. Establish a higher low at this previous high around 98.72. Trend lines right there, 21 EMAs right there. Could see a little bit of a pullback on TLT after we topped out 3 days in a row almost at this trend line. So slight pullback. Don't expect a change in structure in my opinion. Moving over to the VIX, this continues to fall, hit the 55 EMA, critical zone there, 17.05. We finished at 17.08. Momentum step to bearish, RSI breaking down. So this will probably pull back to that 14.7 area. If this is just going to be a high, lower high, markets are probably going to continue to resume that rally. We'll see how much higher we go. If this zone breaks, markets are probably going to continue the grind. If it holds here, obviously that's going to be a bearish sign. So see how it plays. A little bit more bearishness likely in store for the VIX, meaning that equities are probably going to go higher. Looking at my accounts, unfortunately, I traded poorly. Turns out whenever I try to get too cute with things, you can see my day trade counter was far too high, 30 trades in my main account. Occasionally I get lucky with those and I have really good days, but today was not one of those days. Of course, my main positions continue to do well. I rolled out here to 5 days for 468, paid a little bit of a debit to do that. Wasn't super happy with that, especially with the NASDAQ falling a little bit after hours. Probably could have been a little bit more patient, but either way, the market was rallying and I wanted to take advantage, continuing to make money there to compensate for my poor trading on the short term, which is super unfortunate. And then looking at my IWM position, made money on those puts, rolled those up, made money on the continued rally, ended up putting on a covered call, sold the 212 for today, which covered basically all of these losses, and then sold the 212 for tomorrow for 78 cents. And that's in a $1 profit. Right now, that's basically flat after hours, so we're in good position there. Really, it just reminded me that I need to be more careful with my short-term trading or potentially not do it at all. Let me know down in the comments section what you think markets are going to do tomorrow. Are they going to continue this rally? How much higher can we go? Or is tomorrow the turning point? Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.